I've seen a survey in the past, and like half the people who answered it thought Shaman was the worst class. Half the people. That's insane.
Oh, and flame tongue too. 15, 16, 17. He's dead.
Totally.
There's this concept in Hearthstone. It's called winning more, which is generally shunned against it. But this is the Totem Win More deck. It's a control-based deck that relies on totems to win. And the idea behind it is that you control the board, build up a massive board, and then have a few different solutions at the end of the game to carry the win. Early game cards. Here is Earth Shock. So there are a lot of cards that you definitely want to silence. Sludge Belchers, Piloted the Sky Golems, Piloted Shredders, you know, things that kick out crap when they die. You would just like it to go away, and Earth Shock will do that very effectively for you. Rockbiter Weapon for that early game removal, and can also be used for late game damage. Teletrog, because hey, we're still using a little bit of overload in this deck, and he's just a good guy to have in there. Stormforge Axe, again, you're clearing out more threats off the board. The main goal of this deck is to keep punching that totem button over and over and over again, and you'll see why in a second. Crackle, remove bigger threats off the board. Lava Shock, unlock your overload and also deal some damage to the threats that are on the board. Flame Tongue Totem, a very critical card to take advantage of your growing board presence. You use this card generally to do damage to the face. Your goal is not to trade your cheap totems into other minions. You know, you might think, ooh, I got a card advantage off that. But really, your goal is to build the board. So this is more for doing damage, and when you absolutely have to take out minions, especially if there's no repercussions, and you can kill a minion for free. Totem Golem, just absolutely strong card. Like 3-4 for 2 with an overload, but that overload you can mitigate with Lava Shock. We're not running much overload in this deck, so Lava Shock is very strong at mitigating the overload mechanics of our deck. Hex, just one Hex, because we don't want to overdo our cards that are made to deal with other stuff. We have the silence already. We don't see a huge lot of big minions in the current metagame, so Hex is a good option. We do see as a lot of small junk, so Lightning Storm is really effective. And if we're creating lots of totems, we're going to have a spell damage totem a lot of the time, so you can sometimes even look at that as 3 to 4 damage to all enemy minions, which is very strong. Mana Tide Totem. Again, it's another totem, but it's also giving us some much needed card draw. Because we're running so many totems, and especially with Tuskar Totemic, which is also adding totems, we have Totemic Might to this deck to give our totems 2 health. So maybe we've drawn this card twice, we throw it down twice, all our totems get +4. That's absolutely delicious, but we've lost a lot of card advantage in doing so. Mana Tide Totem helps restore that kind of imbalance, either bringing Mana Tide Totem up to a 0.5 or a 0.7, which makes it very difficult to kill. It's going to survive probably 2 turns for you and draw you 2 cards to make up for that disadvantage you took off of Totemic Might. And if it's just left alone, you win the game just on stomping the card advantage. This card, since we have so many piles of totems, it seems like an auto-include to the deck. Granai Totem Carver. Yes. At any rate, If there's a deck to put her in, it's this deck. And initially it's not buffing our totems, it's only buffing herself. But we're always going to have probably at least 2 totems out on the field. So this is a 4 mana 6/6 card, which is just decent just by itself. Other things that might be considerable here, if we're all in the idea of win more, if we're talking about substitutions, maybe Stormwind Champion may be a substitute for this card. Bloodlust, like great card. So if we have been controlling the board, if we built up a presence, this is one of the finishers of the game. Give your minions +3 attack this turn. You have 5 minions on the board, that's 15 damage, and just that alone can close out the game. Frost Wolf Warlord. If we have a big board, then this is a big guy. You know, at having 3 minions on the board, he's a 7/7 for 5, and that's amazing. He can often be bigger than that, so that's a really good card to have. Thunderbluff Valiant. Inspire, give your totems +2 attack, and that includes the totem that you just summoned with the Inspire mechanic, which Inspire is every time you use your hero power. This can end the game if it drags on to the point that you're able to push this button more than once. It just makes your totems too strong, especially if they've been already buffed with Totemic Might. Fire Elemental, one of the cards that is the original reason why people played Shaman. Just a very strong 6-drop card. It's a big guy, but doing 3 damage helps remove threats from the board. Dr. Boom, because he's Dr. Balanced, but also because he is adding more minions to the board. So this is getting 3 minions at once, which makes your Frost Wolf Warlord much stronger. So often you can play a Dr. Boom and then follow it up with a Frost Wolf Warlord. And that is very strong and can close out a game just doing that, where Dr. Boom by himself might not do it. And lastly, as I said, we want to maintain our minions on the board. Our minions are precious, so therefore, if we don't have to run them into the enemy, that's a very good thing. And Ragnaros does that. He does 8 damage to minions on the board while doing no damage to himself. So he can maintain that board presence. So, this is my deck. It is the Win More Shaman Totem deck. So, if you have any suggestions on what additional things should go into it, please leave it in the comments below. But I think the best way to demonstrate is to play this deck. And we're going to do 20 games. I'm going to show you every one. We're going to examine why we win, why we lose, and maybe come to a conclusion if this deck is good or not. I haven't played a huge amount with this deck, but I was spurred by Kripparrian's assertion that Shaman's a failed class, because apparently it can't make decks like this work. So we are going to try to make this deck work and see how we do, and win or lose, at least we'll have learned something valuable. Now, it's beginning of February, and I've just started, so we're at rank 22. I was a higher rank at one point, but now not so much. So, however, because everyone's starting at lower ranks, because it's the beginning of the month and everything's reset, we'll find some more skillful players down at these lower ranks too.
Thrall versus Thrall!
For Doomhammer! For the Frost Wolves!
I like the new taunt that he used. Right, so we're playing against another Shaman, which means that he's probably using the very popular Face Shaman deck that I discussed earlier. Get rid of Ragnaros. Flame Tongue's great to have because we can pair it with our totem power. Mana Tide is fine. And there we go, we got Totemic Might, so that's going to make our totem stronger. Nothing to do first one, but say hello.
Greetings, friend.
Let me know if
Greetings,
you like me
friend.
playing without music. I kind of see this as a bring your own music, because if I have to cut things, cut really long opponent turns, then the music's not all chunky and disjointed. He is playing a totem, and I will do the same. up a nice Flame Tongue Totem next turn, and I will consider playing Totemic Might as well. I think that because he's played nothing on the board, that dropping the Mana Tide, playing Totemic Might, and then ending up with a big Lightning Storm on whatever he plays next turn is going to be very strong.
Job's done.
So we'll do that. Things can't be rock bitered. We get him, he's a welcome addition. And it looks like we're in decent shape.
Ready to ride.
Does absolutely nothing. Oh, and we got a Tunnel Trog too, which will work nicely with our Lightning Storm that he is about to be inflicted with. Again, we don't want to just trade our guys into him. We want to keep all of our stuff in good repair. So we're going to do that. We're going to Lightning Storm. We'll pull another thing. So we got another totem there. Things are looking pretty good. He's getting a little scared now. Early game Frost Shock. Leaving him at 2 damage. I guess he just doesn't want damage on him. Okay, so we're at 5 if we use the Lava Shock on him. And I think we may do just that. Then it sets up Thunder Bluff at turn 7 perhaps. It looks okay. And we'll play him on the next turn. Now remember the Tuskar Totemic can summon a Flame Tongue Totem, and I want my this guy attacking. If that's the case. It's not. Instead, it's just going to heal me. That's okay. Oh, another card for me. And some health for me. Things are very rapidly getting out of control on the board.
Dingo! Yes!
First test comes onto the board here. This deck is not competition strength. I'll be the first to say that. We have to get through that taunt, though.
I wonder.
I think it's...
Well played.
First!
We are going to just remove that. Here looks good. That allows us to do some creative accounting if required. We don't want to play the Totem Golem because then we can't play Thunder Bluff next turn. And a crackle. And we're full health now. Now this is pretty typical for this deck, to have just a giant totem city. So, when you look at this, obvious weaknesses come to mind.
Dingo! Yes! What you want?
For example, a weakness of this deck is definitely equality consecration. Alright, so we have to kind of think about what we want. Now we have too many guys actually, so Some of them, unfortunately, need to die to put the thunderbolts down.
Task!
It's an okay problem to have. Do that. Do that. Thunderbolt goes down. And big amounts of damage there.
Well
These are looking
played.
good.
Well played.
And I get a well played. I think
You
that's.
win this one.
And there we go. We are 1-0. Ooh, I also got a Shaman quest. I'm gonna get on. So yeah, going back to weaknesses, like Equality Consecrate, Flame Strike, of course. Hellfire, things haven't been brought out of Hellfire range. And even Consecrate just by itself can kill things.
Gul'dan!
Your soul shall be mine for Doomhammer.
Alright, 2 Crackles is a bit excessive. Crackle's more late game or pushing for lethal at the end. So we want to send those back. This is great. Turn 1, Tunnel Trog. Turn 2, Totem Golem, it looks like. Unless,
Bring out your dead.
is this, Undertaker Death Rattle deck? This deck belongs in a museum.
Roar!
I guess we'll kill this.
Elements guide me.
Job's done.
Just to be on the safe side.
Mind if I roll need?
Okay, that's a loot hoarder. That's fine. He might have loot hoarder Mortal Coil to damage the Tunnel Trog. He's holding it like this, like he has Mortal Coil. So we are just going to kill it like that. I don't like to hold my cursor over cards for that reason. Sometimes it can provide some useful information that you'd rather your opponent not know. And now I play the Totem. He's only 2-3, that's not very exciting. This isn't a deck where you make exciting Tunnel Trogs. This is a deck where you build it a giant monster board. Alright, so where's my Earth Shock gone? It's not here yet. I think then that it is correct. Just gonna run that in there. Generally we don't trade like this, but he'll trade into this, so I'm just going to get a little bit more damage in. He will because he thinks I'm running a face Shaman. So there's a little bit of a deception component here. He got a really good drop off the Pilot Shredder. I can kill that with a Storm. But that's a horrendous waste. Putting this out's a waste. Like,
I wonder.
it's not great. We're going to be a little... We're going to swarm him, do damage, drop this down. So maybe this can get more benefit later. It's a little inefficient, but sometimes that's okay.
By the power of Ragnaros, I have the power!
Bit of a problem if we can't kill that. In for some struggle if we can't kill that. It doesn't look like we can. So we're going to continue on with our building totems.
Job's done.
He might have Hellfire here. That'd be pretty bad.
Feed you to master.
Shields up!
I might have underestimated the quality of the decks at rank 22.
That was a mistake.
Oh yes, you wanted me to kill Fugan. Well, unfortunately I will not oblige you on that. Now we got a little decision to make here. We can have a
I wonder.
7 mana for 4. It's not bad. And 8 mana for 4. That's pretty good. I think that's fine with me. Maybe a little surprise in there.
Elements I like. Totems I love.
Wow, that's a pretty surprise to see that. Who plays that card? Now the danger here is that he does have the Emperor up, and that's a problem. It's a really big problem. Fugan I'm less concerned about, because he also would have to play Stalag too. I think you'd have to run both those in. I think this is a mistake. Good enough board as it was. It will be a mistake because he doesn't know that I have a Thunderbluff Valiant in my hand. Which is going to promptly kill his
Take heart.
There's Bane. Bane. Right, so I got a Crackle. I think though
There is a
the
lot
play.
at stake.
The Emperor needs to die, so he can't further give me a hard time. This is not ideal. Ideally, we try to keep not trade, but we also need to not die. That is, of course, a high-value target, so he will throw everything he has at it. He might be hesitant on trading here, because he might know that I have a fire element in my hand.
Crush you.
And there's Stalag, too. And a heal bot. Without Earthshock, I'm not really incentivized to kill that. I think killing the heal bot. I am concerned that none of my Earthshocks are up.
Did you bring some fish?
That is helpful.
Job Job's done.
Alright, well, we're still in it.
My shield for Argus!
Interesting ordering. Alright, he's going ham. And he has 2 minions here that also make other minions. It's not great.
What to do? The Earth Mother are upon us.
Okay. See, I don't really want to give him the big guy because that's going to create a problem. Lucky Tackle. Nope. Well, I get to live another turn. And I definitely should have totem first. Maybe I would have got the spell damage totem. I didn't, but that did not make it right. Okay, you take a big hit to the face.
Mind if I roll need?
I see you.
And I got Lewis Ebb.
Well played.
Oh, and the preemptive. Good matter, well played. I think I've killed minions quite a few up there.
Now you feel pain.
And that's it. I appreciate your gumption, Ragnaros, but it was not meant to be.
You win this one.
Alright, we are 1-1. We're definitely destroying minions. Destroying minions left, right, front, and center.
Throw versus Uther!
The deck
I will
wins
fight
by a
with
lot,
honor.
loses by a lot.
Doomhammer.
So, it's kind of part of how it works. Totemic's pretty good. Crackle again, we want to keep till later. This is nice. This is very nice. If he plays nothing on turn 1, then we're obviously going to drop both of them like that. Drop our totem golem and cheer about our good fortune.
For a little while, I pack a big punch.
Okay, that is one of the things that does need to die. So, it will. Make sure that that happens.
Mind if I roll need?
Okay. Not very durable loot order. Totemic Knight. That is also nice. Opening ourselves up to consecrate a little bit here. So that's worth noting. We're still open up to consecrate though. Could consecrate these two guys. Let's play this card.
Job's done.
Get these two higher up and make them much more difficult to get rid of. He can still consecrate here. He does. But at least now it's not a blowout like it would have been otherwise. Again, keep in mind placement of this guy.
Some fish?
Alright, 2 healing totems. I don't know what we'll do with that, but... Oh, look, yeah, see, that was pretty good. Healed him up to 5. I'm happy with that, that's value. Priest for a day. Ooh.
Put this apple on your head.
Sure, Paladin, you have some rights. Right. So, in our current position, I think we're about time for another totem. We will give him a love tap. Again, we want to maintain as many totems as we can. We will keep this guy alive and ensure that our opponent keeps drawing his magnitude of cards. Now he's used 1 consecrate on us, but there is still quality consecrates as a combo that we should be aware of. Blessings of Kings him. I have Hex, but I think we will stop with that. Oh shoot, should have played that first. That was an error.
Elements I like. Totems I love.
Tuz, tuz!
That's a nice, very nice play there. And Bloodlust next turn, perhaps.
None may steal our souls.
Reporting for duty.
What you gonna do? Oh, and Flame Tongue too. 15, 16, 17. He's dead.
Well played.
Totally.
Alright. That's third game is a win. The science is being conducted. Again, 20 gives us a decent sample size, but it's not going to be enough. Like, each win counts for like a 5% win rate, so maybe at like 12 games at 60%, that might be enough to start to consider that there is merit to this deck if I win 12 games out of 20. But at these low ranks, it might be hard to tell. So, have to rank up maybe a bit more to see how this deck stacks at higher levels.
Your soul shall be mine!
And then I might not be playing it optimally, and the cards are definitely not optimized, probably. These are fine. These are nice cards. A little high here, but on turn 2 I can totem, turn 3 I can throw down the fire totem. Oh, and there, now we got that guy. Always good to see him. Zulok, it looks like. I can kill his stuff. Should I?
I wonder.
I think I will. This might be incorrect, but I have plays next turn, so I think it's okay. Alright, he does nothing. So maybe that was not so bad after all. I want to use the totem button as much as I can. So even though playing the totem is a stronger play, it isn't necessarily a better play. It doesn't really fit in with the big strategy that we're doing overall.
Why do you call?
I don't know if I agree with this deck. Well, we got a healing totem. So I guess we hit it for free damage.
Job's done.
I guess I can kill him with the axe next turn. So if it comes to that. We're drawing some pretty removal there. It's alright. Ooh. This is mana efficient to make a totem and a totem golem, and then we have a good turn after that. I kind of like that. We'll get whatever totem this is to attack. That's fine. If it dies, we got that. We got 4 totems for our totem card. Totem Carver. Yes. Draenei Totem Carver. Maybe someone should phonetically spell that. That's a removal I forgot completely about. That stings a lot. That really stings a lot.
Did you bring some fish?
Well, let's see what we get. Oh, healing totem's fine. Oh look, we got all our totems back again. Well, it's on, right? You got another one of those? Of course you do. Of course you do.
You're in trouble now.
Well, you lost Kripparrian. How about that, hey?
Did you bring some fish?
I think we need more totems. And another totem. And why not an axe?
Guide me.
Job's done.
This warlock is quite determined to do a lot of 2 damage. To both himself and me. I don't think Lava Shock is worth using right now.
Elements guide me.
We'll just hit it. The weapon. Drop the drop this.
Elements I like. Totems I love.
You're okay at a 6/6 too. Alright, so after all that misfortune, we still have a decent board. Of course, if you have Siphon Soul. Oh, yeah.
Why do you call?
Yeah, but why wouldn't he have Siphon Soul, you know?
Elements guide me.
It's okay. We got 2 arrows in the quiver down there, right? We'll be fine.
I see everything.
There we go. That's the reason why we keep an arrow that hex in the quiver there. Look at that. Look how out of control that can get on us. Nope. I'll keep Rockbiter until there's something more substantial than a frog to hit. This is a very interesting deck to me. It has a lot of looks like oh. Now, question might be is, do I let him become Major Domo so he dies to my things? Nobody plays this card, and
I wonder.
I'm thinking.
There is a lot at stake here.
I think that's fine. He might not be stupid enough to kill his own Major Domo.
Who dares summon me?
Oh, he's just got me. Alright. Kind of like a hurt lock. It was running Floating Watcher, and I don't even know what that's called. If someone knows what that card deck's called, let me know in the comments.